So a few moments of your time, if you guys would like to win this awesome, brand new, never used Bell MX-9 MIPS in the cool 7 colorway, all you got to do is subscribe, and in 1 or 2 weeks time, I'm going to pick one of the subscribers and notify you and send it to you free of charge. What is up, guys? I'm making this video because it has been kind of a bummer as a Haiden Deegan fan, myself included. The season has been a little bit of a disappointment, not a disaster by any means. He's won a race. He still has that Danger Boy swagger. It is fair to say at this point that the season has not unfolded as many people in the sport and many fans of Haiden Deegan were expecting. We were anticipating a likely domination from Haiden Deegan after last year's just clinic in the outdoors, and then sort of even more impressive level of domination in the SMX, and we have not gotten it. But I'm going to talk about today why I believe there is reason to be optimistic that Haiden is going to figure out the Supercross equation. And I know that sounds weird because it's like he's already one of the best riders, but I believe he, with that level of work ethic and tenacity, and his father, Brian Deegan, that is really intelligent, I believe they are, although it might take some time, they're going to figure out what they need to do to elevate Haiden Deegan's Supercross riding to at the same level, or at least a similar level that he is at in the outdoors. I believe Haiden Deegan is a prodigy level talent when this sport moves to the outdoors. The skill set and the strengths that motocross sort of caters towards is exactly who Haiden Deegan is. Gnarly, gritty, one of the fittest athletes out there, and is simply willing to go harder for longer than his competitors. And that's before we get into the fact that he is also just a exceptionally talented rider. You can see it. He is one of the fastest riders in the world, but I believe it is especially those sort of intangibles that really elevates him above his competitors, and that's what we saw last year. But the indoors has been a little bit of a trickier equation, and a equation that just, I believe, does not fundamentally cater to Haiden Deegan's inherent skill sets in the same way. It just does not reward aggression and intensity in the same way that motocross does. The tracks are tighter. The traction is just overall, if you were to look at an average, you're dealing with a lot less traction. And so that same kind of intensity that we know and love for Haiden Deegan is one of the challenges that I believe the Supercross question is posing. And I believe his teammate Cole Davies is a interesting kind of juxtaposition to Haiden Deegan's style. He is really smooth. He is really sort of buttery on the throttle and really focusing on carrying speed and minimizing chaos. And in the world of Supercross, these tight, tricky, millimeter precision rhythm sections and whoops and corners, that is really what wins it. And that is what was able at Glendale to allow Cole Davies to beat Haiden Deegan straight up. In the, I believe, second race, Haiden Deegan and Cole Davies were 1 and 2. Haiden was not able to catch him, and you could see it was not a lack of effort. We know Danger Boy, a lack of effort is not happening, period, end of story. But challenge that I think Haiden Deegan himself is dealing with is, man, when I am in second, when I got that carrot dangling in front of me, I can't approach it like sort of his natural instinct is to. It's just a different equation. But this is why I believe Haiden Deegan, Star Racing Yamaha, and his father Brian Deegan is going to figure it out. And this is why. One thing that sort of demonstrated Haiden Deegan's intelligence in understanding the sport is he was going around to multiple riders. Eli Tomac, he was riding with, who was the other one? It was Eli Tomac and other riders. Sorry, this makes me look stupid, but Haiden Deegan was going around to a couple of the best 450 guys and was learning, was trying to intentionally put himself in a situation where he's not the A guy, he's the B guy, and he needs to learn. And I believe a lot of people, when I read the just a few of the comments, that the people that clearly hate Haiden, and they're talking about the cockiness and the ego, and that in terms of being a impediment, I think they are just really not appreciating the hustle and the approach and the maturity that Haiden has. I don't think a lot of the people that dislike him sort of realize it, but he knows what he has to do. He knows how to do it. And I believe that's what he is going to do. He's going to go, okay, my approach that works beautifully in outdoors. Again, I still think he is a prodigy level talent outdoors. I don't think he's quite there yet indoors, but he's going to go, okay, this wasn't working. I got to change. I got to learn. Guess who I got to learn from? Cole Davies, his teammate. He's racing there all the time. It's funny. I saw this. Sorry to keep bringing up these weird, negative comments, but he was talking about sort of the, I don't know, friction or jealousy or the rub that Haiden Deegan and Cole Davies is going to have. It just, reading that stuff always makes me laugh. Haiden Deegan is going to learn from Cole Davies. He is going to be thankful that the dude that beat him is on his team, because he is going to be riding with him, studying. It's like, again, if you are successful in the sport of motocross, you have that ability to be humble, to understand where you need to improve. And if you're just one of these inflated ego guys, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, you're never going to make it in the sport. It just doesn't work. The sport humbles you on a daily basis. I don't care who you are. No matter how good you are, this sport will humble you. It does not care who you are. It is brutally unforgiving, and every rider out there understands this. But I believe with Christian Craig, Brian Deegan, they are going to go, okay, we have got to slow down to go fast. And it's this interesting concept of maximum versus optimum. I believe Haiden Deegan is really good at performing that sort of maximum level of intensity. But with Supercross, sometimes you got to back it down and you got to almost approach it, instead of that aggressive, gritty, throttle wide open state, you almost got to get into this calm and slow the track down. That's why Jet Lawrence looks, he rides, he looks like he's riding at 30% less effort than the other racers, and he clocks in a lap time a second faster, is because he's not approaching it in this sort of aggressive way. He's approaching it in almost this poetic way, allowing the track and himself to slow down and really focus on optimum instead of maximum. Because in many corners and in many sections of a Supercross track, more so than a motocross track, the difference between maximum and optimum is literally 1,000th of a second, or just the tiniest amount more or less throttle through this corner so that your rear tire doesn't break traction quite as much, or through the rhythm section, knowing just exactly how much gas to give it so you can just hit that backside of the rhythm section and just generate forward inertia right away. And it's this really difficult equation, and it's why Supercross is so challenging, is because trying to find that balance of intensity and precision. And when you see riders like, I believe the two standouts that were really showcasing this was Jet Lawrence and Cole Davies, and you can see they look like they're riding at half the effort. It's not that they're trying half as hard, it's that they're not wasting energy. They're not going into the corner too fast, braking, and then having to get up to speed. They're carrying all that momentum. They're not applying a little bit too much throttle in some slippery switchback where the tire starts to break loose, and then you got to kind of resettle and reaccelerate. That is the equation. That's the challenge that Haiden Deegan has got to figure out. And I believe it's going to require him approaching it in a slightly different method. But I believe Brian Deegan is going to know what to do, how to do it. I think Haiden has the mentality that is going to provide him sort of the ability to go, okay, I got to learn. Well, guess what? Who I should learn from? Cole Davies. He is a fantastic example of sort of, we know that Haiden Deegan has got these sort of tools in the toolbox. Well, now we need that sort of calmer, slower, steadier approach that in a Supercross track ultimately ends up faster. So let me know what you guys think. It's been a little bit of a disappointing season as a Deegan fan myself, but that's what makes it fun. I mean, it arguably makes it more interesting. If Haiden Deegan was just running away with it every night, there wouldn't be that much to talk about. So it's going to be cool to see, Haiden Deegan right now is focusing on this exact question, trying to figure out the pieces, and I believe he is going to do it. He can easily still win this title, and I believe it is early days in terms of what Haiden Deegan can accomplish in Supercross. Let me know what you guys think and hope you enjoyed the video.